The crypto market may be about to skyrocket into 2025. Jerome Powell has stated to possibly expect a pivot coming in September.
A reduction in our policy rate could be on the table as soon as the next meeting in September.
This pivot could explode altcoins and any risk asset. And I know Ethereum is going to do well. I know Solana is going to do well. What are the new altcoins? What are the top 6 new crypto coins set to explode before 2025? Watch today's whole video, and keep in mind, I'm not a registered financial advisor, nor can I see the future, and investing in crypto in general can be very risky. Never invest any money you're not willing to lose immediately. And coin number 6 on today's list, an emerging leader in the DePIN space, Aether, building scalable, decentralized cloud infrastructure for gaming and AI, essentially decentralized GPU infrastructure.
What Aether is essentially a GPU marketplace, but we don't own any of the GPUs, right? We allow GPUs to connect to our infrastructure, and we surface them, make them visible to this global compute marketplace. And then compute buyers from all over the world, enterprise compute buyers, have the ability to access that compute, and they do so through the Aether network.
And the news today is this: unveiling Aether's core business and annual revenue. Thus far, they have garnered over $36 million in annual recurring revenue, ARR, meaning this is a real working business today. And why are we seeing such demand for this decentralized GPU infrastructure? Number 1, sustained buy pressure of GPU compute from some of the largest tech companies in the world.
The first is, of course, massive amounts of buy pressure from the biggest tech companies in the world. You've got Google, Microsoft, OpenAI. They're all purchasing huge amounts of this compute. Zuckerberg's coming out and buying almost $11 billion worth of H100 GPUs in one hit, right? That's an incredible amount of buy pressure that a limited amount of supply needs to address within the market.
Number 2, production limits. NVIDIA can only produce so many chips per year.
Despite being the biggest company in the world, can only produce so many chips a year, and there's currently not enough chips being produced to meet demand.
Number 3, the need for GPU compute is growing exponentially due to AI, yet GPU advancements only grows linearly.
As they get more complex, as we go from ChatGPT 3 to ChatGPT 4, we're actually seeing an exponential rise in the compute requirements to serve and to produce those later stage models, right? But within that same time frame, we're not seeing exponential increases in compute or exponential advancements in compute architecture, right? So there seems to be this growing gap.
And number 4, on why a DePIN protocol like Aether is needed is inefficiency in the current GPUs available today.
We took a look at data center, enterprise-grade GPU resources in data centers across the US, for example. And often these highly expensive resources are sitting underutilized, almost 80% of the time.
Aether is filling that need in the market, providing the decentralized infrastructure today. They have over $36 million in annual recurring revenue. This actually puts them 13th for ARR for all crypto protocols, yet somehow they're still flying under the radar. And that brings us to next coin on today's list, number 5 in the RWA category, Ondo. Ondo is institutional grade finance on-chain for everyone, meaning just like Larry Fink predicted,
we believe the next step going forward will be the tokenization of financial assets.
They are tokenizing financial products on-chain.
We are a tokenized real-world asset provider. We tokenize things like T-bills. These things look and feel a lot like stablecoins on-chain, but they're designed slightly differently. One of the main differences is that we pass along the yield that's accrued from the underlying investments in the real world to the actual token holder. One of our main products is called USDY. The current yield of that is 5.2%. We recently launched on SWI. We're super happy to be here. And guys, thank you for having us. TVL-wise, we're about 300 million now across multiple different chains. My background, I come from traditional finance. I used to run the digital asset markets team at Goldman Sachs, and I was a portfolio manager with real-world equities trading back in the day for about 10 years.
So they have the team, They're backed by some of the best, including Founders Fund, Pantera Capital, and Coinbase. And the news today is this: their expansion into other networks continue. USDY, our market-leading permissionless yield coin, is now live on Aptos. They're also on SWI, as you saw, and many others. And this means from today, the Aptos ecosystem participants can seamlessly acquire USDY, the first tokenized US Treasuries asset on Aptos, and leverage it across various DeFi applications. And looking at all the ecosystems Ondo is a part of, with over $300 million in TVL across multiple blockchains, USDY offers 5.3% APY and enables global, meaning non-US, individuals and institutional investors to access the utility of stablecoins, combined with attractive yield alongside the institutional-grade investor protections of traditional finance. This makes Ondo a real-world asset protocol to watch. And next up, Lukso. Lukso is the blockchain built for social, culture, and creators, the foundation to unify our digital lives.
The idea is to have a network that's for creative people, brands, artists, journalists, decentralized social media, literally everything that we see today in the web that's not on blockchain yet, to have a home.
They're an Ethereum twin blockchain with a new set of standards and protocols. Some people may say a better Ethereum.
We started with the same Ethereum consensus, and we already have 130,000 validators, and that's growing the more attention comes to the network. But we innovated on the smart contract level.
Actually, I've been keeping you updated on Lukso for years, sporadically. In fact, mentioned for the first time over 3 years ago. This was that video. Next up, a project that's one of the up-and-comers. They made my list for best low-cap crypto investments on my radar, and a big reason for that was their leadership, their founder. One of the most bullish indicators to me is their leadership. Lukso is the next project by the creator of the ERC20 and ERC725 token standard. So the reason that we have all of these ERC20 tokens is because of this man right here, Fabian Vogelsteller. So back then, in the early days, high fashion creators were choosing to launch their collections on Lukso. They have since migrated to their own mainnet. But because Luxo's founder is one of the godfathers of Ethereum, at least the Ethereum standards, this network and their universal profiles are meant to be so much more social, so much more flexible to use. They have public identities, gasless transactions, recovery options, multi-control, meaning flexibility, as well as flexible permissions. Because for perspective with Ethereum, where your first interaction is really just through a wallet, which is not that social, here was the problem.
To give a little example, if you want to use blockchain today, you need to understand what a wallet is. You need to install a wallet on your phone or your computer. You need to write down a seed phrase, which is the password that creates your private key. You need to make sure you have this backed up. And then if you want to interact with a blockchain, you most likely need to go to an exchange, get the token of the blockchain that you want to interact with. That can be a very lengthy process from signing up, doing a KYC, transferring money, and so on. So that's a user journey that obviously will never lead to mass adoption.
But something like Lukso, which abstracts a lot of those complexities, is aiming to lead to mass adoption, starting with universal profiles. Universal profiles are the smart contract account system for the Lukso network. Think of them like your public profile, whether that be social media profile, just internet profiles that are completely self-sovereign and controlled by you, but also compatible with Web3, blockchain, and dApps. Right now, there are actually over 22,000 independent blockchain accounts, people on the network. We can see these different profiles. We also see everything is a lot more visible, a lot more social. Being able to engage is a lot more forward-facing, and we're actually partnering with Lukso today, so I can sort of take you through this platform. And with these profiles, and unlike MetaMask, for example, You can see what other people are doing. You can follow your friends or just follow people you respect. Let's check out Alt's profile, one of the major players in the network. And we see the tokens he's collecting, a lot of meme coins, the collectibles, the collections he likes for NFTs. And by the way, this is a crypto wallet and a smart contract account. So we can go right to Universal Swaps and you can see their activity. So he's making some trades, participating in some pools, and we can go up to social and really see if there's any other people we want to follow or engage with. There's also an NFT marketplace, universal.page, which is pretty self-explanatory. You see it's the same page. You see here, you can buy or sell NFTs. We can also see reactions. Has anybody engaged with his profile? Also, we can discover different drops, different collections if we want to find the ones trending. We can see the top traders or collectors. Things are gamified, their scores. So in my opinion, profiles do make things a lot more fun because you can follow, you can interact. It's way friendlier for average people coming into the space. We saw applications like FriendTech and the rise of SocialFi make a big presence last year. As the social aspect of blockchain continues, Lukso is definitely a protocol to watch. And next coin on today's list in the AI sector, we've spoke about them before, AIT protocol. This is training AI models. AIT protocol uses blockchain to create a decentralized labor market for AI data annotation, offering train-to-earn tasks to enhance AI development. I loved this 30-second breakdown.
The AI models eventually train themselves, but in the early days, when you're training a model, it's basically human feedback that's happening. And you need to do that. Or you might have an AI that hallucinates down the wrong path in perpetuity. Having human feedback there that can help classify and quantify certain aspects of the model, put them on the right path is extremely important. The original idea for AIT protocol was to create a decentralized marketplace that allowed for human trainers of models and then the actual model owners themselves to connect in a marketplace. And then the human trainers of those models could fine-tune, tweak, label data within that model, and then earn rewards in the form of tokens for doing that. And so then instead of these model owners having to go to these huge human-in-the-loop, basically factories around the world, they could go and just plug their model directly into the decentralized marketplace.
And while a few months ago, they received a huge strategic investment from Animoca Brands, which is a major VC in this space, the news today, we're starting to see huge demand/adoption from Asian markets. Bitpanda, which is an Asian exchange, just backed them, listed them, along with BingX, which again, to me, as an American, means almost nothing. But for Asian markets, this is significant. And one of their products, Albert.AITprotocol.ai, think of this like ChatGPT on steroids. This is becoming a more specialized ChatGPT, especially for solving complex math and logical questions. Again, AIT protocol, definitely a hidden gem in the AI space. And next coin on our list, actually a meme coin, Foxy. Foxy is the main meme coin in the Linea ecosystem, which is an ETH L2. So just like Base is an ETH L2, or Arbitrum or Optimism is an ETH L2, Linea, I feel, is definitely an L2 that's slept on, as explained by the founder.
Linea is a ZK EVM. So what is a ZK EVM? It's a layer 2 that works at the bytecode level, exactly like Ethereum mainnet, and that does prove the correctness of the execution. And the problem that it solves is it makes transactions much cheaper.
So basically, Linea is the exact same as any other ETH L2. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Austin, why pick this one? Why not pick Base that's backed by Coinbase? Or even Arbitrum or Optimism? There are at least more brand names. Aren't they the better pick? And I would say there's one specific reason I chose to focus on Linea, and not to say Brett and Base aren't good. I think, in a sense, they've already made it. Brett is already pretty big. But just like Base is backed by Coinbase, Linea is backed by Consensus, the exact same company that backs MetaMask. Right? You go into MetaMask, you choose to switch networks, you can add any EVM compatible network you want, but Linea is automatically always baked right in. And much like we're watching Coinbase start to use their already massively successful platform to funnel their users into Base automatically, I think we'll start seeing MetaMask, because again, Linea and MetaMask owned by the same company. I hope we start to see MetaMask funnel their already massive user base into Linea. Now, they haven't done that yet. I actually think Coinbase and Base are doing a much better job. So there's a risk, but also potential reward on being this early, because it may never happen. But if MetaMask can get their together, I could see Foxy being the next Brett. And next up, top gaming altcoin on today's list. This was the altcoin mentioned by crypto gaming expert Elio Trades in our recent interview.
The first of which, that is absolutely, to me, the number one game that we should all be rooting for, is called Off the Grid, and it's by Gunzilla. And so that is a true AAA game. True AAA. It is I've talked with household game developers, people who have sold over $5 billion in their games in revenue. I talked to a lot of Web2 game creators, and generally the sentiment around this game is that this is going to be a successful big game.
Now, I am an investor and backer of the project. Actually, Gunzilla hasn't launched the game yet. So Off the Grid makes today's bonus. And I could give you specific games that are out now.
Obviously, I'm big in gaming. I would say that if you're going to do gaming, you want to go for infrastructure or projects that touch a lot of games, because the chance that any one game will succeed is less than many.
But I do agree with Elliot that it's so risky to pick a specific game because you don't know. As opposed to infrastructure, which touch a lot of games, Immutable is that chain that's launching multiple games. This is the infrastructure. But I also would say Xverse is a specific game to watch. It's a free-to-play AAA first-person shooter, sort of like the crypto version of Call of Duty. It's in the Epic Game Store now, so it's available for everybody. And then, of course, another one that's starting to become very popular in the esports community, Star Heroes. This is actually the #1 esports space shooter with over 1.4 million in prize money in these decentralized tournaments. Now, if I missed a coin, comment down below. I want to include it, if it's quality, in our next list. And click subscribe, because as updates happen with these different projects, I will keep you updated. See you tomorrow.